Hello, guys. We have a wonderful case study. This one is for the girls, this one is for the ladies. We're going to be talking about womb care, uterus care. That if you're doing womb healing, uterus healing, what exactly are you doing? Right? This one is for the girls. Okay, so if you don't have a uterus, please click out. This is none of your business. It's none of your business, right? Go next door, scroll if you're a man. Okay, I just want to speak to the girls and only to the girls, right? So this is feedback that came in this week. Actually it came in last week. So now my problem is that ever since we've started with the containers, it's like my head is not working anymore, Mabo. So there's a heaviness that comes with doing group, and it's not just one group anymore, there's two. So sometimes it's a lot and I zone out completely. You will not find me. That is the reason why we now have the, what are these things? That's the reason why we now have the forms, that if you want a session, you go in there by the forms. If you want a session, if you want a whatever, there are forms there. It's on the catalog, it's on the website. Because listen, some days we're just struggling. We're just struggling because there's so much happening energetically. What no one tells you is that when you're doing spirit work with someone, dintwa tsa bona become your fights as well. Okay, you wake up fighting things you don't know. Listen, it's a lot. It's a lot. So I'm not ignoring you guys on WhatsApp, promise you. It's just that there's the stuff takes a toll on you mentally, emotionally. If you don't have time to zone out, you guys know what a zombie is. You're gonna be walking around with this tutzela. All right. So if the serious inquiries, people who are serious and that are saying, I want to set aside a time, use the logs, use the forms. Those things are things. The first place that I go to when I wake up in the morning is I go to my emails. I get on WhatsApp because you guys know the connection that I have with the people that I read for. We talk for hours and hours and hours. I'll open my WhatsApp, and then by the time I start opening these messages, I promise you 3 hours will disappear and I won't know where the 3 hours went, because I love the woman that I do this work for. These are people who I connect with on another level. So in order for me to be productive with the time, I make it so that, listen, for the serious inquiries and the serious people who are either wanting to join a container, people who are wanting to order something from the somatic apothecary, people who are wanting sessions, they know where to go, right? The reason why we've shifted things around is because, yeah, guys, it gets heavy. It gets heavy for me. It gets very heavy for me. So I just want to have systems so that I'm also taken care of, right? That as I take care of Batwabanina, I'm also taken care of. Okay. So here's what we have for today. Here's the case study that we have for today, right? So I'm going to place it right here at the bottom. This now talks about what are the benefits of doing womb care, uterus, womb healing. Because a lot of people, for some reason, we've been taught to believe that spirituality and the physical are two different things. And listen, for the past what feels like 10 years of my life, I've been trying to prove that these things are not isolated. So here's someone who we did a really nice concoction for her, a uterus concoction for her. Within 4 months, she's like, listen, there have been some changes. So if you are a woman and you know, listen, if you've had just before your cycle begins, if you've had, because there are certain things that we are made to feel very embarrassed to talk about, right? So I want to read to you the before and the after, and then we're going to talk about exactly what happened here and why that herbal concoction that we made for her cleared this out. Okay, the reason why I want to share this is because I know there's probably another girl somewhere who's struggling with the same thing, thinking that there's no solution. There are solutions, guys. Let's get into it. So this is from the 29th of April 2026, 29 April 2026. So she says, "Thokoza Gogo, I hope you are well. Apologies for the very late text. I've noticed something in my menstrual cycle. For the past 3 cycles, my menses have developed a very foul smell. The blood that comes out smells really bad, and it's not a thing. It's not a thing of it smells bad after it has sat for some time. No, when it comes out, it smells rotten, and it's a bit concerning. Please recommend any pills or mixtures you make that I can take to clean my womb and my internal system. I think my hormones are not balanced. Like I'm anxious now because my period is coming and I'm already dreading them. I'm afraid that other people might be smelling me as well. Please include the castor oil capsules too for clearing my skin. I develop hormonal acne when it's about to be that time of the month. To add on to the menses issue, I develop a boil on the surface of my lady parts every single time I'm about to get my cycle. It's what alerts me that it's about to be that time. Okay, so our solution, we basically did some custom capsules, 90 of each, and we mixed some stuff that we felt like was going to help her uterus to clear out, number one, any kind of like bacterial overgrowth, any kind of like yeast overgrowth, and also just to clean the blood out in that area. Because sometimes it's like, okay, so if there's anything that's been sitting for a while, by the time it gets like, we the mixes were literally for clearing the uterus out. And you guys know that even the castor oil is antifungal, right? It's very antifungal to try and get your, candida balanced, right? To have your healthy yeast, bad yeast, you want to have all of that balance. So 4 months later, she came back with this feedback. Also gonna place it here so you guys can see what we're talking about. Hey Gogo, I hope you are well. The pills totally solved the foul smell from my past periods. From my cycle, I got my period 2 days back and I didn't experience any pre-cramps. I only had full breasts. The boil that always showed up before the period was not in sight this time around. Smell is totally gone. I just had to smell the cycle blood like a deep inhale, but there was zero smell. That is crazy. I don't remember what normal period blood is supposed to smell like. This is 4 months after starting the pills. I just want to say thank you, SM. Secondly, Gogo, wait, I'll send another message. So, Gogo, I really love how thorough and generous you are with your responses and explanations of concepts. Spirit is really clever. My intuition is sharpening daily, and I absolutely cannot wait to get back to you about this. Right. Um, at the time, this was actually before she got this. She's like, I don't think it will be a physical thing, but an internal and lasting shift. I will be happy with that. Appreciate your assistance, and I want to join the other offerings in terms of the classes you offer, but I will let you know when it is time. Listen, girl was going through it with all of the stuff that was going on, and she didn't even think. I get to this is why people like us, we Basabetela, they put us on those things, they burnt us, because then it was like, okay, fine, but where are you guys getting this? Because it's one thing to be with any qualification in the physical, you have to go through the physical system, the qualification system. But now, people that are witches and wizards, you are qualified by spirit. Do you know what that means? It means that you're not qualified by the living, you are qualified by something on the other side. So now, when that qualification is you are breaking the rules of the living, right? Because that's not how it works. For you to actually be able to help people to heal and to recover from, because this is a cellular reset. In the next 10 minutes, I wanted to talk about how did this help her to reset the cells inside of her uterus, inside of her womb, because your womb is a place from where you create from that place. Your womb has to be pashash as a woman. Because when your uterus is not okay, when your uterus is not okay, you cannot magnetize anything to you. Witches forever. Yeah, all right, skis guys. I forgot to connect this mic thing, so The audio from the previous clip is probably not 100%, and that's fine as long as you can see me and you can read what it was I was saying. I'm not going to redo that thing again. I was reading the first part of the case study on womb healing, womb care. So all this other stuff about pre-period boils and just the science behind it, like what's happening physically, that is stuff that I do just so that there's an understanding of what's happening, because what we are really doing is there's always a cosmological aspect to plants. For example, there are plants that are very water based. Venus, we know, for example, I'll make an example with hibiscus. Hibiscus is linked with Venus, right? Garlic is linked with Mars. Licorice root is linked, hibiscus is linked with Venus, right? Water, which then links people with the moon, right? Ginger links you with the sun. Garlic links you with Mars, right? And then you have licorice root, which then connects you with Jupiter. So now, if you are wanting to do any kind of womb alignment or focus on the uterus is linked with the moon, simply because this is where the moon bump sits. So the monthly cycle is what links you with the moon, the cycles of the moon, which is why you will have that for a good 28 days, and then we will go again, right? Which then makes up what? An entire month. So now, if you are wanting to balance that area, you want to focus on the actual plants and roots that cosmologically are water linked, right? You want to focus on that. You want to focus on the Venuses, the waters. I added the sun and I added Mars and I added Jupiter in there so that she can get into, because things like Mars is a fighting, like here, when you're fighting something, you're fighting bacteria, you're fighting whatever, any kind of like battle that you are fighting inside of the body, these plants that are then linked with Mars helps you with that. So obviously this is a lot of esoteric information that helps you to understand that, okay, so if I'm dealing with cosmology, there is a cosmological aspect to plants and things that grow from the earth as well, and then that helps you to balance the different things out. So I am sharing this so that you understand that there's a lot on the planet. So we can't all be qualified by the same bodies, by the same systems, by the same things. Because a lot of the information and a lot of the knowledge you will find inside of the esoteric and the spiritual spaces, you will not find that information in university. There's nowhere in university where you can go today to go there and learn about extrasensory abilities. You will be told that there's no such a thing as telepathy. Kanjani. When we are telepathically communicating all the time, every day with each other, we just don't know that's what we're doing. There's a lot of things that mainstream consciousness does not understand, that just dismisses as pseudoscience, and that, oh, or oh, it's not. And now when you then communicate this stuff, you have to put it in a language that the layman, the normal human being, can understand. You'll come and you'll talk about bacterial infections, you'll this and that, so that they understand that, okay, so this is how yeast works, this is what the physical body understands. Because the minute you speak about the cosmological stuff, people get lost. When you start talking about this is how different people are coming from different star systems, people look at you like you are right? Like you're not enough in the head. So this conversation of being qualified not by man but by spirit is something that it's a conversation that I feel like a lot of people are not ready to have, because then they feel like, okay, but then how will we know it's a real thing or not? Anyway, So those roots, when you are looking at it from an elemental point of view, if you've been following this channel for a long time, you know I've been talking about chakras and energy portals for the longest time, and I've spoken about where the sun is, that there's a sun in the body, there's a moon in the body. So this helps you to, when you are working with plants, you are looking for plants that have the very cosmology of what it is that you are dealing with inside of the body. So when it comes to uterus care, you want to focus on that exactly, where Venus is the main one. Okay. Venus is the main one, and then that helps you. Yeah. Venusian. So for those who wanna come up, okay, for those who believe that astrology is Western and that astrology is a white person thing, that that's exactly what the colonizer wants you to think. That's exactly the colonial propaganda you will find in those universities that qualify people, but they qualify people in ways that do not threaten the status quo. And there's actual evidence that this it's not true, right? Here in Nguni languages, we're talking about Zulu, we're talking about Xhosa, right? Inyanga actually means four different things. Four different things. When you speak about Inyanga, you're talking about the moon. Inyanga, you are talking about that orbit month, a 30-day cycle, all right? That it takes 29.5 days for the lunar orbit to happen. Inyanga, you are talking about a menstrual cycle. Ukunyangeni is to go to the moon. When you are going enyangeni, you are going to the moon. When you're having your moon cycle, your monthly menses. Okay. Inyanga is a traditional healer, herbalist. Now, the ancient healers, Inyanga Zakdala, they were not just botanists, they were not just herbalists, they were also astronomers. They understood cosmology, they understood the cosmology of the body. They also understood the cosmology of the stars, celestial bodies, and the luminaries and how they work. And when they were actually throwing bones, it was a cosmic thing. It was a celestial thing, because those people were astronomers and they knew how to alchemize, and they were working with energy. So much so, if you have a sun in your body and you have a moon in your body, you can understand that your inner is what allows you to travel. Mkhatini is what allows you to soar, to fly. So it's not true that astrology is not ours, because if that was the case, then we would not have Zulu terms that actually explain how as above, so below, because there's Inyanga out there in the sky, a celestial body, and you also have Inyanga in your body, which is your actual womb, right? Magnetism sits in the womb, and it also sits in the heart. What that means is that's where the magnetism is. The aura, this is that electromagnetic field around the body. What university module is teaching that today? Tell me now. Tell me now. Tell me now. Where do you find that in mainstream consciousness? Where? Where do you find that in mainstream consciousness? Because now, if really it was true that astrology is not our thing and cosmology is not our thing, we would not have words that are actually telling you that when you go into space, you are going within, you are going inside of your body, you are going. Anyway, so let's talk about magnetism. Which is the thing that allows you to magnetize, to pull to yourself, okay? Because it is very much linked to the health of the uterus and the health of the heart. So when you are then healing the uterus, your ability to go to the moon is sorted, it's fixed. Your ability to go to the moon, because Uguya Enyangeni is going to the moon. Here you are aligning human creation directly with the cosmic clock, right? Because we are connected to cosmology like that as human beings. Yes, so now going you guys know that these portals are different between men and women. Men are linked to the sun, which is the electrical fields of the planet, the electrical pull of the planet, and then the moon is we women are linked to the moon, so that is the gravitational pull of the planet. And what does the moon have command over? The water bodies of the planet. That gravitational pull connects with the water bodies of the planet. Now, since the body is then roughly 60% to 70% water, that means that magnetism also impacts the human body. So it impacts the womb, which is then that amniotic fluid matrix that we all come from. You know that before you stepped onto the planet, you were floating inside of a womb, inside of a sack of water. For 9 months, you were underwater, right? So for all of those Christians that will talk about the marine kingdom, yay, marine kingdom, yay, yay, you are of the marine kingdom as well. If you were inside of a womb for 9 months, your ignorant brain just does not understand that now you are of the marine kingdom because you need water to survive. You come from water, you need water to survive, right? 70% of your body is water, not just liquids, but blood, urine. So things like breath work, they impact what? They impact the blood in your body. They also, which then talks about hormones, because blood carries what? Hormones throughout the system, right? Hemoglobin impacted by breath work, right? Your iron levels in the body, breath work. So now there's a lot. There's a lot you have not been taught. There's a lot you do not get taught. And I want to make this clear because there's a lot of people that come into our little spaces and they want to debate. And I'm like, okay, let's debate. Just to summarize in summary, your magnetism as a person. The previous presentation we did about just before this one, we were talking about your magnetism as a human being, that what makes you magnetic, what gives you pull, what gives you that thing, right? And we shared stories about women who have upped their magnetism. They have built the magnetic field around their bodies. And then what happens? Then they started pulling to themselves the right people, the right things, the right circumstances. The jobs started hunting them down. That immediately when you come out of chase, guys, immediately when you come out of that masculine pole, we have one of that masculine pole that says work, 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 work. When you come out of that, you get into a space where you are just moving with alignment. And when you are moving in alignment, there are certain things that stop becoming an uphill battle, right? All of these women were thrilled. We shared some voice memos, we shared some voice feedbacks, we shared some text feedbacks so that you can see for yourself in real time that, hey, this is what magnetism looks like. Job you didn't even apply for, they start hunting you down. They start chasing you down the block. Why? Because you are a magnet, baby. You are a magnet. You pull to yourself. Yeah. So there is something else that I wanted to talk about how dysregulation affects. Actually, we're going to talk about it just now. Let's save this one. Okay. So let's wrap up the point. We're going to wrap up the point with the final thing, right? We have just spoken now about how body cosmology, that the body has its own cosmology, plants have their own cosmology, that then links the above with the below. Because what is above? The stars are above, the planets are above, the luminaries are above, and then what's below? We are below. Bodies of water are below, caves are below. But anyway, so unemployment is something that I deal with a lot in the work that I do, because what we actually do is we help people to solve problems in their lives. And one of the biggest problems that are plaguing young South Africans is unemployment. Unemployment is just this unavoidable thing. Okay. So in my mind, I was like, all right, fine. Let's find alternative solutions. Let's figure out what is going on here. People will come through saying, I've tried everything, Gogo. Gizame yonke into. I've been sending CVs. I've been sending CVs. I've been working hard. I've been proving myself. I've been this. I've been that. Why are my ancestors watching me? Oh, they are so evil. Why are they doing nothing? You know how it goes when you're a person who works with spirit. That's usually the first point of call. That, can you just ask my ancestors, why? Why are they not helping me? And here's the thing. Many of these people, I'm like, okay, so what you're doing is you're taking physical action. You're taking physical action. So now you are moving, functioning within the electrical space which governs the sun. Men are going to overtake you in that. You can never work harder than, anyway, let me not say that because I know it can be taken out of context. We are governed by something different. We are governed by magnetism, whereas men are governed by planetary electricity. Different portals, different strength, different everything. So I'm like, okay, pull back. Let's stop. Pull back. Many women, I'm like, pull back. Stop the job search. Let's just sort out some of this dysregulation. Let's fix it. And a lot of these women, sometimes they don't understand that. How is that possible? How is that possible? You're not taught. I get you're not taught certain things. So your mind has a way of rejecting them. A lot of the stuff that I talk about sounds like nonsense to a lot of people because why? The propaganda is telling you something different. So when you are operating now outside in the magnetic spaces, you are understanding that what am I signaling, what information am I sending out through my aura? This aura around me is something that impacts everything in my life. And what we need to understand as South Africans is also the fact that unemployment is not just a market issue. Unemployment is not just an economical issue. Unemployment is also a nervous system issue. And as Black people, you can try and ignore this all you want, but systemic inequality and systemic oppression makes it so that hundreds, millions of us have actually inherited dysregulated nervous system from our parents, and they inherited the same thing from their parents. How can you not be dysregulated with the history that we have in this country? I can say this with confidence because I've seen how people's lives change once they clear dysregulation. Okay. Dysregulation blocks income. It blocks everything. It just blocks the healthy movement of things in people's lives. I've seen it over and over again that once you clear it, it starts to feel like even job roles start hunting you down. The other day, we were sharing a story here, feedback of a lady saying, oh my goodness, I just got called for this job. I didn't even apply for it. It's an IT job. She had been looking for months and months, 6 months, and she's qualified. She's even got experience, but she was not landing anything. She's like, yo, now they're just hunting me down. I went to the testing. They had this test that they had to do, this IT thing. She wasn't in her best. She was like, I didn't do so well in it. I failed. So I don't know if I still got the job. The rules had to bend so that she could get the actual job because that role was for her. It had her name on it. That's how it feels when you've cleared dysregulation. What is meant for you will come and find you. It will locate you no matter where you are. Do you understand? I don't think you understand. Let's say this again. Unemployment and career stagnation are not just market issues. They're also nervous system issues as well. Why? Because systemic oppression puts people in fight or flight. Okay. When you are in fight or flight, you are in survival mode. You are fighting off threats. And when you are fighting off threats, it means that all of this life force is going towards getting you out of danger instead of actually repairing and using this magnetism, because magnetism is secondary. Electricity is the thing that allows people to be hyper vigilant, to move, to get things done, to get out of trouble, and all of those high risk things, survival things, right? Now, when you change your inner signal and you broadcast something different, Your physical reality follows suit because people are constantly interacting with this light around your body that we call the electromagnetic signal. It's electrical, masculine, and it is magnetic, it is feminine. So it's the yin and yang of the light around your body. You see. Now, when you change your inner signal and you broadcast something different, your physical reality follows that. It's like you go from being a victim of the job market, a victim of a changing economy, a victim of a changing world. You go from that to being a sovereign human being who pulls to herself. You pull, you magnetize, right? You've switched off the fight or flight. Now you are operating within this magnetism that aligns you with things, people, places, circumstances, and things. You are able to use this creative life force to create impilo yakho, because let me tell you, you cannot be doing the same thing over and over again and then expecting a different result. That is insanity. That's exactly the description, or the how people describe insanity, that you are doing the same thing that does not work over and over again and you're expecting a different result. We're in a different time now. We're in a different world. The old rules don't work. So what are you going to do? Are you going to be doing the same thing that doesn't work and then expecting a different result? Because you can. If that's what you want to do, you can. If that's what you want to do, you can. All right. You can be sending more CVs. You can try and work harder. You can just push and see what happens. But if you're doing that and you're from a place of dysregulation where you are unregulated, understand that your signal is not okay. So what that looks like inside of the corporate environment, a dysregulated aura looks like you are constantly being overlooked, not being recognized. Other people are getting promotions and things and you never are. You are never seen, almost as if people keep... You are always minimized. You are not recognizable, right? You get passed up for roles and things, okay? It just speaks to having a chaotic, dysregulated field. It comes across in many, many different ways, not just in not landing roles and not landing jobs, but also ubanestina. People don't want to deal with you, don't want to talk to you, don't want to do anything because there's just this irritating thing around you that they themselves don't understand as well. All I'm saying is just clear dysregulation and see what happens, because we talk so much that sometimes it feels like people just think that's enough. Clear dysregulation and see what happens. See for yourself then. See for yourself, because now people don't trust anymore. There's too much going on everywhere. People don't know what's what. Clear dysregulation in your life and see what happens. Just try it and see what happens. What have you got to lose? What have you got to lose? Balance yourself, center yourself, see what happens. Because once you have a clear signal is strong, you're radiating the right stuff, this inner cosmology reflects out, and I promise you, life stops becoming an uphill battle, because dysregulation blocks income. I'll explain to you next time how it happens. So stick around.
Choose a belief. You choose a belief and then you sit with it, and then that it becomes your life. And it, you know what? It can make your life much easier if you just choose, you know what? I choose to believe that me philandering as a woman, as whatever, I'm empowered. It makes me this, it makes me that, whatever those things are that you've put for yourself to make your life feel like it makes sense to you. And when you go to bed, it doesn't bother you. But I don't know if I can honestly say that I've unpacked it enough in a person or people to get to the root, like, you know, they feeling. We actually get that, oh, they really are at peace with this. And it's not the layers of I have just chosen to accept that this thing is, therefore I'm living this life and I believe and I'm empowered. It means that I'm sorry. You know, like I'm curious. I'm not saying that I have, but I'm curious that deep down, all those layers deep, is that still, you know, the answer that most of them would give? I think the number would probably come down, and then you have maybe though that small subset or percentage of those empowered slay queens that are really just like, I don't care, I'm a man.
Yeah, their conscience is a seed, right? It is a spirit.